feeling so far? So far, so good? Okay, not too bad, right? We're going to enter into an activity about safety and risk mitigation, and that is going to be led by two of my teammates. So I'll introduce the first one. You heard from her yesterday. She actually graduated from 3 high-performance driving academies and can drift cars at really fast speeds. She can drive sick. Please welcome back up to the stage, Lizzie Ludo. Our second teammate that's going to be leading us or helping out with this activity. We saw that videos just a little bit ago about amazing dads. This one is going to be a dad very soon. So he is a dad, his wife is pregnant, and they're due, is it March? Okay, welcome AJ to Leon.
Also, if you guys saw, AJ has some fires also moves also. So stay tuned for that. Madison and AJ, Madison is his wife. Whenever there is a party, we always play salsa specifically so that those two can dance together. And they do amazing every time. Great. Okay, so AJ and I are up here to do a large case study, a series of case studies, really, on risk mitigation and contingency plans. Now, that's a lot of syllables for some really heavy stuff, but again, as Laura was getting at, this is really about a mindset. It's not, here's the perfect step-by-step instructions on every situation that you might find yourselves on mission, but rather, what is our mindset and our approach to a variety of situations and scenarios, and how are we just making a little bit of extra effort, a little bit of extra forethought, and being really prepared as a director in case something does go wrong, that we're not taken completely by surprise, and we have some good things in place ahead of time. So, great. We already ran through this, right, with Josh, but real quick, just write down which one's a risk, A, B, or C, which one's a risk mitigation, and which one's a contingency plan. Josh. Which one's a risk? B, correct. Which one is the risk mitigation? Absolutely, great. And then finally, which one is the contingency plan? A, absolutely. In case you do miss your international flight, that's the steps you take. Great, you guys are pros. Amazing. Okay, quick, yell out. What's the contingency plan? Amazing, filled in. Okay, so we're gonna split into 3 different groups at your tables or in your colleges. You can split it this way, whatever you guys have been doing, but we want to need 3 groups to work on these. We're going to analyze each scene or scenario that we wrote on the slides, and in 3 minutes, you guys are going to list out together 3 to 4 pertinent risks that apply to that specific scenario. There are going to be a lot probably, but just the top 3 or 4 that come to mind. Then after that, you're going to write down some bullet points on mitigation strategies for 2 of those risks that you listed. And then you're going to write down 2 contingency plans for the 2 most likely risks that you identified. Any questions? Great. It's like a learn by doing kind of thing.
Alright, here is our first scene. We'll have some background music, or I guess background sounds to get you really immersed in this scene.
Okay, so I want to hear from some people. Oh no, she's coming into the audience. Hello everybody. Could you please give us 2 risks that you identified with this scene?
Possible pickpocket.
Being pickpocketed, being hit by that motorcycle. Excellent. Great. All right, AJ, do you want to show them what we came up with?
Absolutely. So here's some risks that we came up with. So we have some group separation, like I said, an accident, losing someone, possibly assault, pickpocketing, double on that one, and some hagglers are coming that you may come across.
Great, thank you. It's a good list, solid list. How many of you guys had a lot of those, the same things? Show your hands. Nice. Great awareness. All right, let's pick on these people. Could you guys tell us, did you mitigate any risks for an auto pedestrian accident, like getting hit by a car? Could you tell us some of the things you mitigated for that?
Preparation to have a first aid kit and a local emergency number on hand. And then when walking through a place like this, if needed, you go single file line along the edge of the street.
That's awesome. Going single file, not being in the middle of the road, having first aid kit, great. Did anyone have the risk of pickpocketing that they listed? Did y'all mitigate that? Okay, what are some things you would use to mitigate that?
We would put backpacks in the front and also have previously printed out copies of important documents.
Yes. Also, tell your students not to put their passport in their back pocket too. Great, awesome. Those are some good mitigations. And wanted to check in on some contingency plans for those two as well. Did anyone over here have a contingency plan for in case somebody gets hit by a motorcycle or a car? You guys have it?
Yeah, our contingency plan was just call those emergency numbers if there was an accident to get anyone out of the situation of risk as well. Just
Great. Yeah, stabilize, get everybody out of risky situation, make sure the person's okay. Emergency numbers from there. Great. Did you guys mitigate pickpocketing? Or excuse me, have a contingency plan for if somebody got pickpocketed?
Yeah, so we, contingency was just having copies of passports, and just paperwork, documents.
Great. Yeah, again, having copies of those documents. AJ, what are some other mitigation and contingency plans for some of these scenarios that we have?
Yeah, most of you guys got pretty much everything. Everything you guys said was exactly what you needed to do to mitigate those certain risks. Specifically for an auto pedestrian accident. Well, first of all, there's some general safety practices that you should pretty much do all throughout your mission trip, and we'll go over those later. We're just going to go kind of more risk-specific strategies. So, for example, yeah, you guys nailed it with use crosswalks, walk on the side of the road or as far away from the road. All some other things is know which side the street cars drive on. This is a normal thing. We taught this as kids. Look before crossing. Don't move around near busy roads. We want to make sure people are acting pretty mature, especially when they're just in crowds of busy cars going by. And then, if absolutely, you guys have to walk on the road, please walk in the direction of facing the traffic. That way you can see any head-on cars. Now for contingency plans, you guys nailed it. Yeah, first thing you want to do is seek medical attention for that person. If questionable, if you're not sure if they are injured or they're not, it's a good thing to just make a run to the hospital because there could be some injuries that aren't visible. But always prioritize the victim. Don't worry about bringing justice to whomever hit the person. If they drove off or whatever, prioritize the victim first, and then seek local authorities once the victim is being cared for. And then another good thing is also make sure the rest of the group is safe as well. I know sometimes all the attention can be there, but make sure maybe have one of your leaders just guide the group into more of a safe location. Now for pickpocketing, yeah, there's a lot of things to mitigate pickpocketing. Wearing your backpack in front of you is a great one. Another thing is be assertive. Leave valuables at home, so don't bring any of your bougie items on the mission trip. That just brings a whole lot of attention to you guys. Take special care in crowds, so that's what Laura's talking about, just being very situationally aware. Let's see. This is more in situations where, say, you have to put your bags down, maybe for Mass, you're going up to communion. Let's keep the bags on. Let's not leave them in the pews or off to the side. They're just open for anyone to just snag or go through. So let's keep those on. And then be a difficult target. Don't look confused. Don't look really hesitant. Again, be assertive. And make sure you know exactly where you need to go and just go straight to that direction. Wearing a money belt is a really good travel item to have. And then, yeah, avoid talking to strangers that engage you. You guys are probably going to be sticking out in the crowd, so just avoid any strangers that they come across. You always, no is a good word. Everyone knows what that means, so don't be afraid to be assertive and say no. And then, yeah, just be aware of thieves that can slip in your pockets or bags or blades as well. So if you have any important items, maybe put them in the more secure pocket of the bag, maybe not in your water bottle pocket inside your bag. And then if that were to happen, don't worry. Don't worry. Just look them in the eyes. If you catch them stealing from you, just look in the eyes and tell them no, go away. Most of the time, their best tool is being secretive. And so once you catch them, just be assertive with them there. If anything is absolutely just stolen from you and you just need to get that back, we can make an insurance claim. All of our participants have insurance through Focus Missions, and we'll be able to make a reimbursement through that. So, by the way, get a secret out there. For the next one, before we go on, I think we've got to do this one. Let's close your handbooks so you guys aren't cheating there. All right, take a look at this one.
Good catch, AJ. All right, scenario. After landing at the airport, your group of 20 people must take a 45-minute taxi ride to go to your accommodations with your host. What are 3 of the most pertinent risks here or in a similar scene? Mitigate 2 of them, and what are the contingency plans for the 2 most likely? You have 3 minutes. Did you guys identify any risks for this scenario? Any risks, quick.
Biggest risk is getting in the cash out and not winning any money.
What is the risk in this scene? 2 seconds.
We say getting lost.
Getting lost? Yep.
Getting lost. Anything else? Car crash. Anything else? Splitting up. Stranger in the cab. Abduction. We'll talk about that. Okay. AJ, what risks did we identify?
All right, here are the ones you guys have some of the little extra here. The ones we want to go over for this one are motor vehicle accidents, losing someone in transit or the group, or an emergency when it happened while the group is separated. So, go ahead, Lizzie, find someone.
All right, great. I'm gonna skip Oscar Romero. Angelo, does your table have anything to mitigate a motor vehicle accident? Or losing someone or separated?
Yeah.
That's okay.
But we can come up with something right now.
Which one did you guys talk about?
We talked most about someone getting lost.
Someone getting lost.
Yeah.
What would you do to avoid that?
So have a student or chaplain or like student leader or chaplain in each of the taxis. Make sure everybody knows the directions. Making sure people have like a phone number to call.
Nailed it, honestly. That was great. Okay, out of the table, what did you guys talk about with mitigating a motor vehicle accident? So like, doing what you can to avoid it.
Make sure the driver isn't crazy.
Okay, you guys are laughing, but that's a real thing, okay? If somebody's driving crazy and they're driving recklessly, you have to be able to tell them to slow down and to drive safe. Like, don't laugh at that. That's a real thing you might have to do. I've had some crazy drivers before, and if you're not the one who stands up and tells them to get it together, nobody might. So that's a real mitigation. Good job. All right. We're gonna talk about some contingency plans over here. What would you do if you lost somebody in your group or you got separated?
Make sure that there's at least one missionary in or chaplain in each of the cars of students, and that they have a phone that works and is charged and has everyone's number
And if they did get lost?
to call.
Yep, awesome. What about accident or losing someone? Do you guys mitigate or can have a contingency plan for either? What would you do if you lost someone? Oh, we didn't talk about that. All right, AJ, let's see what you got.
Maybe. All right, so for motor vehicle accidents, yeah, like Lizzie said, be bold in asking for the driver to slow down and drive with more caution. Maybe this is something we could do before you guys go on your trip to talk to your host, see exactly what transportation days you guys are going to be using. If you guys can't find, if the host can provide a driver, then let's move forward with that. If available, always use seatbelts. Do not ride in the back of pickup trucks or ride on any motorcycles and mopeds or scooters. But if you guys were to get in an accident, again, same thing for if someone were to get hit by a car as well, is get medical attention first, go to the hospital, call local authorities later, and then make sure all the victims are cared for. And once the situation is stable, make a police report about the situation. And then do not sign anything in a language that you don't understand. Before you kind of maybe if you get pressured into doing something like that, just find an interpreter first so you know exactly what you're going to be signing. Now, in case someone were to get lost, yeah, before you guys even start traveling, everyone should know what their final destination is. And then they should be put into, if they're going to be put into groups, then there should always be a leader or a director on that trip on that group with a male. Have established an assembly point if someone were to get separated. So that could be the place that you guys are lodging at, or if you guys are in a place just for that day, let's choose a place that's less crowded but also known, so that everyone knows where to go to if you were to get separated there. And then yeah, always if you need to make a phone call. Now for the plan of that. Yeah, let's have the leader have the opportunity to use that phone. Please make sure you and your leaders have phone data and signal to make sure you guys can communicate if you guys were to get lost. And then if not on public transportation, then you guys would just say you guys were just traveling in different like taxis or whatever, have the student call the mission director. Again, they should have an emergency card and they should have their number. And then for emergencies, now for this one, it says you guys are separated and there is an emergency happening and you're like, okay, I'm not with my group right now. What do I need to do? What do my leaders need to do? We're all separated. Well, again, you want to have a leader and male, access the data on your phone. And then if it's possible, utilize local emergency services if something is happening. So that's something you should also know what the emergency service number is for the area you're going to. And then also, leaders immediately, if something's happening, emergency is happening on the trip, contact your director right away. And then if emergency is taking place, then they should head to the designated area. Hopefully that designated area is also maybe the same area in case of emergency is happening. And then follow emergency protocols, which is something we'll go over later today in our safety day.
Great, I saw a couple of questions, so real quick.
Is it better to, if there were an accident, whether a car accident or someone gets hit by a motorcycle, and they seem totally fine, is it better for liability's sake that we do seek the medical attention or just use the joke?
Yeah, it's always better just for health. Liability is second, it's there, but the most important thing is there's a lot of unseen injury potential there, so always take them to get checked out and get cleared by a medical professional. Peter?
Should we make sure all of our students have data available, or is it enough for the student leaders to have data and all the students have data?
It's enough for your leaders to for sure have a cell phone plan. In an emergency situation, most cell phone companies, if you turn your phone on in a foreign country, it will work. The bill might not be nice, but it's better to pay that after the fact. So you don't have to tell students to get a cell phone plan, but your leaders and yourselves do need one.
Awesome. Let's get to the next slide here. Our scene this year is a day at the beach. We're playing the sun. All right, go ahead.
Say mass in an hour, so maybe no more cookies. Great. Mass fast right now. Okay. Hello, everybody. What were some of the risks that you identified in each day? Riptides? Sunburn. Stingrays, sharks. Dehydration. Great. Pick one. Okay. Riptides. Okay, what would you do to mitigate riptides?
Explain them to the students beforehand, look for them, tell them if they get stuck in one, talk to the locals about what the water's like, how far it's safe to go.
Yeah, talk to locals, give them orientation on riptides. What if somebody got pulled into a riptide? What would you do?
Hopefully they remember to swim sideways to get out of it, and if they don't and they freak out, you can form a chain to get to them from the beach.
You know a lot about riptides, I mean, Great, okay, AJ threw out some of our own risks that we identified on the board. Laura mentioned this already, but drowning is statistically one of the top ways people die. Americans die abroad, it's the top way Americans die on mission. Traffic is the other one. So, be aware of those things. We also identified sunburns, dangerous aquatic life, and death on the beach, which is a new drink that we'll make. Okay, any mitigations or contingency plans that you would want to add?
Yeah, so this one we're going to talk about more drowning and rip current. So to avoid this, I know some of you guys may have the opportunity to go to the beach during your mission trip. This is really exciting. But with this, we want to make sure that everyone all of the directors give a safety briefing before any sort of fun in the sun. out in the water. So that's something we'll go over later about ocean safety talk. The next thing is, ask if everyone can swim first. Some people may not be able to swim. You want to know who is able to and not. Like you said, talk to the locals. Swim with a buddy. We're doing the buddy check, so maybe we just want to stay consistent with that in the water. Establish swimming boundaries. Maybe a good boundary would be, so just stay at waist high, don't go any further. That's just a safe thing to do there. Look for riptides and don't swim at night. That's really bad. Don't be doing that, guys. Now, if something were to happen, someone's drowning or is caught in a rip current, have someone call emergency services right away. Hopefully, actually, another mitigation you could do is to see if there's a lifeguard on duty. That's something you should always keep track of as well. Now, if someone is drowning, you bring them to shore, it may be not safe for you to actually go out there. You actually might be putting yourself or whoever goes out there at risk as well. So we want to make sure we have someone that's training into doing that. Now, like I said, if you're caught in a rip current, the best thing is, number one thing is stay calm. Don't lose your energy out in the water. It's something you want to let them know. Stay calm if anything were to get pulled out. But then also swim parallel to the shore to then get out of the riptide and then swim to the shore a lot easier. So.
Yeah, we also have a safety briefing, an ocean briefing section in your director handbook. So again, pull that out before you guys do any sort of beach day or swimming day or near any body of water. Also, we mentioned this, but take a cue from the locals. If you're at a beach and nobody is in the water except you guys, not a great time.
Awesome. All right, let's go to this next one. Scenario: upon entering a rival city, one of your students gets held up at customs. Go ahead.
Guys, what did you identify some potential risks with a student being caught in customs? Yeah, group separation, language barrier. Did you mitigate any of that? Customs. Yeah, list of what not to bring, communicate with them well. What would you do if somebody did get caught in customs?
Stay calm and stay.
Great, stay calm, stay together. Great, AJ, what do you got?
All right, here are the things that we came up with. Here we have a student gets sent back to the U.S. Another one would be a student gets pulled aside from customs for questioning. And also a student gave maybe the gave them incorrect information. We have at the same college create what is the mitigation strategies if the GC plan if a student gets sent to the U.S.?
Yeah, let's say a student didn't bring the right stuff for customs and they actually get put on a plane back. How would you mitigate that? Call for help. Call missions! No, this is before it happens. What would you do before you guys leave?
So it doesn't happen?
Yeah, what would you do to make sure it doesn't happen? Make sure their passports are okay. Exactly. Where would you do that?
In the U.S.
You do it in a lot of places. You do it in the logistical email, you do it in the final email, you do it in the safety email about any COVID things they need, any documentation for testing or vaccination status. how long their passport should be good for, all that stuff. You guys are communicating ahead of time to students so that a student doesn't get put back on a plane to the U.S. But what would you do if it does happen? Call missions.
Call missions.
Yeah, you call missions. At that point, you can't do anything for the student. You cannot supersede a country's customs or border enforcement. They'll try to do it. Just accept the fact that the student didn't prepare the right things and can't join you on mission. We'll try to make an insurance claim. Missions will try to take good care of them as you guys just continue on with the trip, redo the buddy system, etc.
Awesome. Yeah, I know, guys, this is a really tough situation because it's almost out of your hands if this were to happen. The big things to mitigate this risk are the emails that you guys are sending. It is so important that you guys are sending your logistical and your final emails so that your students are totally aware. But then also the travel logistics information that you're going to give as your orientation. All of your students, everyone, even your chaplain, should know the process of what they may be asked at customs. So please make sure you send out your logistical emails, your final emails, make sure they're accurate and clear. Go over the information at orientation. Also do your research. I know there's some, it depends on some of the countries. I know for example, Costa Rica requires proof of insurance, so you're actually able to go into the country. For the Costa Rica directors, that's something you should know, sorry if you don't know. But that's something you guys need to do research of what the customs may ask you or require from you. But then also, if that happens, yeah, call missions. This may lead to a delay for your trip, so let your host know as well. And if you have a student that's stuck at customs, it may take a little while to get out. If possible, try to reach out to the student, maybe even ask what they're asking for them, what they're questioning for. But yeah, in the end, if something is like this happening, feel free to call missions, and hopefully we can come up with a solution for that student.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
All right, for the next one. All right, here we got subway transportation. Go ahead.
We said that somebody doesn't get onto the metro.
What would you do to mitigate that?
Yeah, we said to have a leader at the back of the group that is like the last one to get on, so that if somebody gets separated, hopefully it's the leader who has the phone. Also making sure everybody knows what stop we're getting off at, so that if someone does get separated, they know that they can then get back on the metro and use the third stop.
Yeah, and what if somebody did get separated? What were the steps you would take?
Yeah, they should call, let us know that they got separated, and then hopefully it's a leader, there's a leader with them, and so that they can just get on the metro and use the third stop.
Excellent. Give it up. That was perfect. Take it away.
All right, here's some what we have. We have pickpocketing. We mentioned that one before. Yeah, we have crowds. So this one there's some other physical or sexual assault or abuse on the subway. And what you guys said there is losing someone in transit. So we'll cover both of the underlying ones here. So since we're talking about the losing someone in transit, you nailed it. All the mitigation strategies, you had every single one, which is great. Now, if this were to happen, then it's good that they should wait at the station until someone comes back to them. So hopefully maybe having a male and another, maybe a leader to go back and find that person while the rest of the team stays with the rest of the group so that then they can eventually reconvene with each other. Now, if a student gets lost alone, they should just wait for someone to come back to them. If not on public transportation, then if they can't, call the mission trip director. They can use their cell phones. Please encourage them to do that if that were to happen, or find a local phone that they could use. And then just the kind of specifics of just when you need to call one of our one of you guys' phone numbers in another country, you need to make sure you dial +001 prior to making it. Make sure that you're calling an American phone number right there. Now, can we find someone for mitigating the risk of
Yeah, we can share.
Okay.
We'll just talk about that.
All right, so now we have physical and sexual assault. This one could really happen because, no one could possibly see it, you're in a crowd. So to mitigate this, we want to make sure we have a man and leader in any group that branches off from the group. When traveling a group, men should be on the edges of the group to ensure that no strangers can enter themselves into the group. Insist with the group to wear modest clothing and no flirting with anyone around. We don't want to attract more attention. That we may already be. And then also maintain a 10 p.m. curfew. That's really important there. Now, if something were to happen, someone were on the trip to get assaulted, it's good to then just first check out if the person is okay. It could be disturbed from that experience. So we want to make sure if they are okay actually continuing with that mission trip. If they are, please make sure as a director you are checking in with them daily. Make sure they are okay after the experience. If not, let missions know. We don't want to kind of force them onto the trip to stay on there after having a traumatic experience. And then once back in the States, it'd be really good maybe if you want to open up to them and be like, hey, I encourage you if you want to talk to someone professionally about this situation, just so, if there's any other kind of lingering thoughts or experiences that are still kind of traumatic to them, that they can maybe find some professional help afterwards.
Great, thank you. All right, ready to move on?
All right, so here we have a specific region in the world. What are the region-specific risks in the highlighted area? So quickly, just among your group, talk about that.
Does anyone know what this area of the world is called? It's not yes, but there's a different name for it too. Something different. Great, okay, that's time. So this area of the world is actually called the Ring of Fire.
Alright, so here are the things that could occur in the Ring of Fire. We have earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes. Hey guys, please quiet down here. We have volcanic eruptions, maybe some extremism that could occur. So there's a lot of things. It's good for you guys to actually know where you guys are going, to know that what specific risks could occur generally in that area. So, please, if you don't know what to do during an earthquake, look it up. You should drop down, take cover, and hold on to something. Tsunamis, you want to move as far as inland as possible. Hurricanes, typhoons, you want to reach out to the U.S. Embassy of where you are and to get any further information of what your group should be doing. And it's similar, you need to evacuate as well. And volcanoes, evacuate, get away from the danger as possible. Anyway, we're going to continue more of exactly what emergencies, what you need to do during emergencies. So we'll continue on that later. All right, so the next one, we have a dark alley here. So go ahead and take real quick, like a minute or two on this one.
Murder, theft, assault.
Theft, murder, assaults, great. What are some ways you can mitigate those things?
Having guys shamar the group.
Don't go there. Have guys with you and smarring and don't go there. Okay, what would you do? We're just gonna move on. AJ, you're gonna take it.
Alright, here we have robbery. This one we want to go kind of touch on more. This is a dark alley, so there's definitely could be some sketchy figures out here. So we want to be more attentive during these situations. Now, to mitigate a robbery to occur, it's good to instruct the students to never take out any entire wads of cash. That just leaves more eyes to you. Wear a money belt if possible, and just just carry around small amounts of money. Along with that is when changing dollars or currency, say at an ATM, you want to make sure that if you're handling with money, maybe be in a room that is enclosed, avoid any kind of open space. Count the money, they exchange discreetly in front of the counter. And then once exchanged, immediately tuck your cash in a secure pocket, and then get out of there. Use ATM at a bank as much as possible. Those are usually more secure. And make sure, again, you are always aware of your surroundings. Ideally, keep 2 people on either side so that all kind of vulnerable spots are covered. Now, if something if this were to happen, inform your team to not resist robbery. We don't want anyone to be fighting for maybe just a couple dollars or whatever. We just give the person what they ask. It's better to not put even more danger in this situation. It could lead to something worse. And then ask help from the local friend, local authorities. Please don't be afraid to call local authorities. And then if this is something a lot bigger, please feel free to reach out to the American consulate about this situation. We want to make sure the group as a whole is safe. So pretty much in all, we want to make sure that, there's some other crazy things that can happen during, maybe in this scene. You guys could think of really extreme situations. And, those things are really extreme, maybe extreme, and could be impossible, really likely is not. But the first thing we really want to touch on is how did you even get there in the first place? What risk mitigations were not put in place that led to that situation? That's why we have risk mitigations. So, all right, we're going to continue on. Liz, do you have anything else there? No, okay. All right, last one here is here at the airport. So what are some risks? What can you mitigate those risks there? Go ahead.
Missing your flight, getting caught in customs, and students not having their documents, and being stolen to death.
Great risks. What are something you can do to mitigate students missing their flight?
Making sure that they have all their documents and making sure that you're on time and have plenty of time so that things aren't delayed and rushed.
Yeah, what would you do if you guys did miss your flight?
If we did miss our flight,
Let's say for some weird reason it took you 3 hours to check in.
call missions.
All right, AJ, let's see what it is.
All right, so let's talk about flight cancellation or say you miss your connection. All right, so sometimes you can't even mitigate these risks because maybe it's because of weather. You guys can't control the weather, flights are delayed or changed. So you're just gonna have to prepare as best as you can for this situation. But it's good to bring a copy of everyone's itinerary. And then also, in case you really cause everyone to miss their flights, reach out to, before calling missions, I know calling missions might be your first thing to do if something were anything go wrong, but we trust you guys can actually problem solve on the ground there. So maybe before calling missions, talk to the airlines. Like, hey, because of weather, we missed our flight. Is there another flight that my group can get on? That's a good first step before calling missions, because that could be an easy solution right there and then. And then, let's see, for lost passport, it's good to mitigate this is bring copies of everyone's passports. That's a really good thing to just have. And then if you guys were to lose a passport, say whether at Cousins or even on the mission trip, know where the closest, where the American consulate is, and let them know that you have someone on your trip from America that has lost their passport. Hopefully they can get a quick passport from them on there. But if that is, if you left it on a plane, go see it back at flight attendant, see if they can get it for you. It's also good to make a police report. Always make a police report if you lose your passport there, if it's stolen especially. And then take copies of reports and passports. That's something you guys should all have. So have a folder of all these copies of everyone's information. Let's see.
Yeah, lost baggage, you can make a insurance claim, you get the airline to track it. Basically, a lot of these things you can problem solve in the airport. Don't be afraid to be firm with airline employees and just really make sure that the group is getting what it needs for success.
Yeah, we also have insurance for everyone, so if anything is lost, like a baggage, hopefully we can get something back out of it there. Okay.
Right.
That's pretty much it. Alright, so now, this just kind of close it all up. Just want to pick up just on any trends you guys have noticed. There were some things that just kept climbing up more and more and more. Maybe the buddy check system was something that was like something really useful, or having a leader in the male in the group at all times, or overall just keeping a low profile. These are all general safety practices that we'll talk about later, that we hope you guys implement in all of your trips, no matter where you are or when on the trip you are traveling or whatever. So thank you guys. I know this was a big activity, and I know that when anything where you guys are trained enough to react, or at least mitigate any of those risks, if anything were to happen, we trust you guys to know exactly what you need to do. So thank you so much.
You have all of these resources that we listed off in your handbook, in your mission director handbook, and we've got more people coming up to teach on specific strategies to implement on your trips. So this isn't the end of Safety Day. Don't worry.
Thank you guys.